Before World War II, Bellevue was a sleepy community with a few gas stations, stoplights, small businesses, and lots of farms. These produce labels give some idea of the diversity of fruit, vegetables, and flowers grown during Bellevue's agricultural period. Ferries were the main mode of transportation between Bellevue and Seattle for many years. The ferry Lachai ran daily from Medina to Seattle. The Lachai originally served Maidenbower Bay and Medina, but the Maidenbower stop was dropped in 1920. After the ferry stopped running to Maidenbower Bay, Bellevue residents had to drive or ride a bus to Medina to board the ferry to Seattle. After arriving at the Seattle dock, they rode a cable car to the foot of Yesler, and from there they took a streetcar to downtown. At this point, the city was beginning to shift north from its original Main Street businesses. The largest shopping center, the Lakeside Center, was located at Northeast 8th and Bellevue Way. It supposedly had the largest paved parking lot in King County at the time. The opening of a floating bridge on July 2, 1940 connected the Eastside with Seattle. The Lacey V. Morrow Bridge promised a new way of living in Bellevue and was only 20 minutes from downtown. This marked the beginning of the end of ferry service on Lake Washington. Once the new highway from Seattle reached Enetai, it ran into the Mercer Slough, which was not stable enough to support a road. The solution was to elevate a section of roadway over the slough, resting it on pilings driven into the muck below. The bridge was a matter of some debate. It was considered by some to be too expensive and structurally unsound. Many believed it couldn't possibly float and deemed it Hadley's folly, after the engineer Homer Hadley. The bridge did eventually sink in 1990. During repair work, an autumn storm filled the concrete pontoons with water and the bridge broke apart. In the early decades of the 20th century, Bellevue was a small farming community especially known for its strawberries. Many of the farms were operated by Japanese immigrants. They rented and farmed the land but were not allowed to own property. Here is Matsuo Hashiguchi with his son Lester in 1941. The United States' entry into World War II brought the next major changes to the community of Bellevue. The signing of Executive Order 9066 by President Roosevelt set the stage for the incarceration of over 110,000 Japanese Americans, including 55 Japanese American families from Bellevue. Few of these families would return to Bellevue after being released from the camps. Post-World War II brought an influx of people moving to Bellevue. The combination of the Lake Washington floating bridge and good shopping brought many new residents and visitors to the East Side. Kemper Freeman Sr. saw the potential in Bellevue for a suburban shopping center and modeled his Bellevue Square after one he visited in Dallas. The shopping center was car-oriented and featured free parking. Bellevue Square opened in May of 1947 with Frederick and Nelson as its anchor store. One of the most popular restaurants in Bellevue Square was the Crabapple Restaurant. The first owner, Carl Pelfey, started the Arts and Craft Fair in 1947 at his restaurant. The event quickly became a tourist attraction and is still one of Bellevue's largest annual events. Due to efforts by the Chamber of Commerce, Bellevue became known as the ultimate in suburban living. Brochures circulated with the slogan, "Over the Bridge to Gracious Living." New housing developments were built all over the city. Viewcrest in 1947, Hilltop in 1948, Lake Hills in 1955, and Somerset in 1962. New schools quickly became another necessity, and the Bellevue School District was founded in 1950. New elementary, junior, and senior high schools were built as the city expanded to the south and east. As people began to buy homes in Bellevue, there was a desire to incorporate. On March 31, 1953, with a population of just under 6,000, Bellevue became a city. Here, Jean Boyd and Phil Riley correct one of Bellevue's street signs to mark the occasion. The first city hall was a converted school building on Main and 100th near Maidenbower Bay. The police department was on the lower floor, and the volunteer fire department close by. Bellevue was growing, and in 1956, Look magazine chose it as one of their 4 All-American cities. As the 1950s drew to a close, Bellevue had grown to a population of 12,800, and the Department of Transportation began to plan another Lake Washington bridge.